So let's continue with obstacles in meditation. So the first obstacle is sleep. Sleep will be a very difficult obstacle depending on how severe it is, but it is the presence of tamasic energy that I've explained previously. And you will have to find some strategies to deal with it. Like I've explained, to purge this energy out of the system, to change it, transform it, you will need activity, work. But let's focus on meditation. So find some periods to do some hard work, physical, intense physical work, but prior to meditation, make sure that you have rested, or else no meditation. But there will be just sleep. But even with rest, you see, sleep comes in a way that it's more or less either the first thing that happens or the last resort. I will explain, because it's all about preservation of your reality, of what you experience as reality. So when you are very focused and you are intended in focusing even more and trying your level best to go with the discipline, with the meditation and increasing it, then sleep is the last resort to shut it down. And this is a difficult obstacle because you might be having rest, everything might be there, and still you sit to meditate and you sleep. So in the beginning, this is not what happens. If this sleep is coming, it's because tamasic energy predominance. And work and some rest prior to meditation will make sure that meditation will happen. But then sleep can rise as a resistance to meditation. To all spiritual teachings, the valid ones. And there's many examples of this, of people just starting to listen to something that's going to touch them inside and just they sleep, they cannot stay awake. It's a last mechanism to resort to. Just, okay, if I cannot deviate from this, I will shut the system down. So sleep in the beginning is easy to solve. Some rest prior to meditation. The first in the morning, of course, you're fresh, so that question doesn't arise. But a good cold shower helps to awaken, to make alert, because if you go with that energy of sleep, then it's more likely for you to sleep. And also, if you're meditating in your room, the energy of the room is of sleep. You have been sleeping there, so it will pull you more down to sleep. Even if you are meditating with other people, for example, and someone is sleepy there, it will pull others because it is bringing that energy and influencing others around. So those who meditate in group, they have this experiencing of sometimes there's sleep coming, they are pulling, but they weren't, they were fresh. And then they notice that someone else is sleeping, and that influences too. So as this first obstacle, do some work and rest. The first ones you don't need, but in during the day or in the afternoon or the end of the day, if you're going to meditate in the end of the day, sleep a little bit prior to meditation, and then take a cold shower, and then meditate, so that you can make sure that at least you can start your meditation, because that is very important. You cannot wait for the ideal conditions. You have to build them. And then if this sleep is coming not as a result of tamasic, but as a result of a self-defense mechanism, and you will see this because when the sleep is because of the tamasic, there will be other signals involved. You'll be lazy, dull, you will not feel like doing it or something like that. But when it is a defense mechanism, it means that more or less you have overcome these initial stages. So your mind is not dull. You want to sit and meditate. Of course, it is still for self-interest, but that's another story. But you want it. And then it shuts down. So in this case, you will have to persevere. You have to develop tactics. Don't sit too comfortable with too many clothes. Be a little bit cold. Don't mind the cold because it will keep you alert. Develop the strategies you need. Reduce food. Food increases the sleep, the heaviness. Change the quality of the food, more light food. And the more hunger you have, the less sleep you will get. So there's many strategies that you will develop with time to deal with this difficulty. But sleep is one central one that will come up for sure, eventually. If it is in the beginning stages, not just in the first or the second, but a big part of the 1-2 years, then it is conditioned with all these other traits observed that you can observe in yourself. Then this is related to the tamasik. When these traits disappear, but still sleep is there, like shuts down the system, that's a defense mechanism. Then you need to improve your strategies to keep awake. And if you're persistent, it doesn't last too long. But if you're complacent with that, then it takes longer and longer and longer. So the other one is mental restlessness. This is Rajasic energy there present. So too much agitation, an agitation that permeates your mind and your body. So you cannot sit still. You have to adjust, to move, change position, change technique, change this, change that, try another strategy, try this, try that. And of course, your practices will be conditioned by a strong greed, self-interest. I want the goal, but it's not about the mistake disappearing. It's about the mistake being confirmed, absolutely confirmed. So it's greed from the character. And this agitation doesn't let you have quiet, silence, stillness. It's like you try to hold your mind and your body starts boiling, popping up. You can't sit still. There's pain here, pain there. You have to change position, this and that, because there's a lot of turmoils inside. Emotional turmoil, mental turmoil, restlessness, everything is there. It's like a pressure pot that is full of pressure. And if it stays still too long, it might explode. Of course, majority of times you just experience restlessness. You cannot focus, just that. You cannot touch this because there's many layers to protect that. But eventually, you will have to go through it. So, for mental restlessness, you need to learn to focus your mind. You need to learn to train your mind to be still. There are many techniques for this, but stillness is the best. So you sit in a posture and you train yourself to be still from the beginning to the end, not moving 1 inch. And dealing with the inner turmoil without expressing it outwards. Spending your energy. The other one had to create energy. In this case, we need to spend it, but spend it in the way that it doesn't come back to us. So it is working, intense work, full until whatever you can do, but make sure it doesn't come back to you. There's no fruits coming back to you. And that you can detach yourself from this idea of fruits. So selfless work, silence, stillness, meditation, these are all sattvic traits. And by bringing this and trying to apply this, this is transforming Rajasic energy into tamas, into sattvic energy. You need to be disciplined with your mind. And between sittings, don't let your mind wander. This is very important. It's like a spoiled child. If you just leave it to do what she wants, and then it becomes miserable. So this child, you have to discipline it. Maybe that for children doesn't work too well. It depends, but that's not the issue now. You have to discipline your mind. Don't let it wander. Between sittings, when meditation finishes, usually there's this, oh, now I'm going to do this and that. This is unnecessary movement. So the body will rise up from the meditation sitting, but the mind remains still. You have to keep it on a short leash. Keep it there tightly so that it doesn't wander away. And make sure your body doesn't move. Try to bring this more and more and more and more. Focusing on the technique. Focus on... In the beginning, it's just a constant moving of distraction, trying to focus, distraction, trying to focus. But as you continue to do this and to pay attention and keep your mind in a tight leash during the whole time, then you'll get more and more fruits. In the beginning, it seems that you're doing nothing, but eventually it will pay off. Being reluctant in meditation, maybe you don't see the point for it, you don't, you're not sure of what you're doing, but you're reluctant to meditate, you have doubts in it. That's a big obstacle also. But understand that despite the gunas which are involved and all this that I've talked about, you can only get fruits from meditation after you meditated. And it takes time, effort, concentration, the right motivations, and this takes time also to get there. So it takes a lot of ingredients. So this reluctance in meditation is a big obstacle because it breaks your continuity, the repetition, persistence. And when you're meditating reluctantly, then it lacks the fire of will. It's not something that you're putting all yourself in there. So these are the first 3 obstacles.